Hey everybody, G Bear here. An update on Homesteading the Desert this 15th of May 2018. What you're looking at here are my solar panels. I've got both arrays on a level now, looking straight up at the sky because the sun does pass directly overhead. It's right up there in the sky now, beating down on these panels. They are dirty. I'm going to wash those first thing tomorrow if the wind is down, because with the wind blowing like it is right now at about 14 miles per hour, I'd take a shower at the same time I'm trying to clean panels. Those three up there on top of the shed, I've got to move those over to this end, because in the afternoon I noticed that they get shaded very quickly and I'm losing 45 watts of charge power there, even though I've got a few hours left of sunlight. All these others stay in the sun all the way down until the sun is just off the horizon. All right, you see old Glory up there blowing in the wind? We are having a good little wind episode here. It's been on and off all day. The wind turbine is cranking away up there, making electricity. There's my homemade antenna. That was build number 1. If you go back through my videos, you'll see that. That antenna picks up the San Diego channels. I get about, I think it's about 9 San Diego channels off of that. And over here, you see I've got some extra 2x4s on my table. I went to Home Depot first thing this morning and picked up some more materials. And let's move on down. Look at what we got here. My garden house is coming together. I've got the first row of 6 foot of wire up on there. I got all my other parts of the framing all done, except for the angle supports that I'm going to put on those centers there to hold up those supports for the roof. It's all going to be the same wire, so it's not going to be heavy, but I don't want it sagging down the line. So I'm going to put an angle support from the 4x4 up to there, or maybe I'll just go from that 2x4 up to there on both sides. And then I can use those, I'll have 4 of them. I could use those to actually put some hanging plants in here, and going to utilize all the space I can. But you see my wire is up here. I've got the separators here to where the next piece will come down, overlap this, and then I'll nail it together. And you see I've been using these roofing nails to hold this wire in place. They are great. And I left these loose because I'm going to pull those and overlap. You see the top one here is loose too. I'll pull that when I do the overlap and then reuse it to nail that together. Down at the bottoms here, let me get my shadow out of the way. I went about every foot, but some places I had a little bit of bulge in it, so I put extra nails down there so the critters can't get up underneath. And they're not going to go through this. It's not totally rugged yet because I still have to add more nails more nailings down these studs. I just did the corners, and I did some of the center studs for stretching. But like this one here, it only has 1 in the middle and then the loose one at the top. So I'll put more down this stud to make sure I hold that in place nice and tight. Now what I was thinking was, since I have to wait for more wire to come, and since I have that little extra wire on that roll right there, I know I'll have plenty of extra on the next roll of wire, but I have this part right here. What I might do is in this corner here, I might use a couple of those 2x4s I got and build a little protected box here with a lift cover on it, so I can put some potted plants down in there and get them started out here and get some of my my veggies growing, which can be transplanted later. Things like corn and that can be transplanted. You can't transplant carrots unless you don't mind them being all contorted and everything, and I don't mind that. You know, I cut them up a lot, put them in stews. What the heck? It's a carrot. It doesn't matter if it looks like the last carrot you had. Not every potato you pull out looks the same as the last potato, but nobody ever complains about that, right? Anyway, my ladder's still in here. My hammer, safety rule. Always make sure when you put hammers on a ladder that you secure them like that. If you don't do that and you forget it's there, you grab that ladder to move it and you're going to get it conked on the head. And that really makes for a bad day. So I always push that through. The guys that used to work for me, tell them all the time, don't leave unsecured items on top of the ladder and don't ever overreach. Get down, don't be lazy, get down, move the ladder over. Don't try to reach further than what you can comfortably on a ladder without tilting. Geez, sometimes you got to drive that through people's heads. I watch guys on those things leaning way the heck over, and the ladder is teeter-tottering back and forth, and they're just barely holding it up with their feet. Crazy. I don't know about you, but I don't mind falling. I hate the sudden stop at the bottom. Okay, so those upper struts up there, those are just to support the wire, and I've got them centered on where the seams are. So what I'll do is I'll take my next roll of wire. I'm going to measure the piece I need to go up over the top and down the other side. And then I'll cut that and then get it up there, bend it down and nail it in place as needed. And then I'll move over. I'll do the last one over there. And then the center one will be the overlapped one. I'll have to go up my ladder from this side and reach out. I can reach out about 4 feet when I have a, not a step ladder, but a extension ladder leaning against here. I can reach out about 4 feet on both sides. That's a 14-foot piece. So that gives me 8 foot of that unit. So the center I'm not really too worried about. If I have to, I will figure out a way of getting up there and putting a center nail in there so if it doesn't lift up and let critters in. But I think I could stretch it tight enough without worrying about that. All right, well, I wanted to update you on that, let you know what was going on. Tomorrow, I am not going to make another run to Home Depot, but I am going to get some work done on my chicken coop because I am at a basic standstill for the garden house until I get my other roll of wire, unless I put that little box in there. I'll contemplate that tonight, and if I think that's a good idea and it won't waste the wire, you know, I can maybe just screw it down with some panhead screws so I could take it all apart later without wasting wire. Because I was going to use the rest of that roll to make the door. And when I make the door, I'm thinking I'm not going to make the door up to those cross members. I'm going to make it all the way up to the top. So if I'm bringing a tree in or out, I've got that extra room up overhead to move it. I might make the door in 2 pieces. Who knows? That'll come down the line. A lot of times I start these things, I have a plan in my head, and then I think to myself as I'm going along, hey, this would be a cool idea, and I modify it. But hey, that's what retirement's about, right? All right, so I'm going to try to get some work done on that. I was going to go buy one from a local tractor company. They had it advertised on sale for $200. It's about half the size of this one, but it's complete. And I thought, well, heck, I could throw chickens in that right away and use that later on down the line as a separate house for the younger chicks to keep them separate from the older chickens. But then I started thinking, you know what? I'm so far ahead on this one, and I've got all the materials. I've got the wire here already for that. Why don't I get that thing done and get my chickens into it? And then if that other one comes on sale again down the line, I'll pick it up and I'll use it as an isolation coop if I need to. Other than that, let me get this one done first, because this is going to be the Waldorf for the chickens here. They're going to have a lot of room to move around in there. and it's going to be all self-sustained, so self-watering, self-feeding, all that stuff. And I'll work on that one probably tomorrow. I'll get the baseboards around the bottom of the coop so that I have nailers, and then I'll do my trenching around there and maybe get the first row of wire around that thing so that I can keep critters out. And besides going down a foot into the ground with that wire, I'm also going to have an electric fence on there, a solar electric fence with 2 wires down at the bottom, one about 2 inches off the ground and the other one probably about 6 or 7 inches off the ground. So if anything comes snooping around there, sticks their nose in there, they're going to get a 50,000 volt DC jolt through their nose, and they're going to say, hey, I didn't like that. I'm not doing that anymore. All right, that's about all there is today. I'll close this one off for now. I wanted to show you my little temporary rack stand here. I used 3 jack stands. So I just backed up, put the jack stands under it, put my jack under there, and pulled it out of the van because it has a 3-point connection. I built that to be a real sturdy carrier. And I just pulled it out right there. So when I need to load it up, I just back my van right back up here again. I can shift this a little bit, 1 or 2 inches either way. And then I'll just swing it right in and plug it in and take off with it. And all the other stuff can stay right where it is. That's all. Sunion's doing great. Carrots doing great. The inside plant's doing great. I picked up a porterhouse steak today at Stater Brothers. It was right next door to Home Depot. And I'm going to be cooking that on the barbecue tonight, along with some corn on the cob. I got a great deal. I got a 1.2 pound porterhouse for $5.74. So that's going to be a delicious meal tonight. I think I might even make some mushroom and onion and garlic sauce to put over the top of that steak and have the corn on the cob on the side with it. No potato tonight. I've been having potatoes every night. And even though I would really love to have a baked potato tonight, I don't need it. So with everything else, I'll be plenty full. G-Bear signing off from Homesteading the Desert.